For our project, we were given Unilever and we chose to look into it in regards to the UK. Presenting today will be Catherine Hoare,
Morgan Boyce,
Cesar Garcia,
and Jake Parrish.
And here's a little bit of history behind it. Unilever was first created because of two products, soap and margarine. In the late 1800s, because of the Industrial Revolution and a huge gap between the rich and the poor, there was a shortage of butter. Margarine was created to become a longer-lasting version of butter and help sustain the health of the people. The Dutch company Margarine Unie developed ways to make margarine taste better and loaded the margarine with essential vitamins. At the same time, William Lever of the Lever brothers came up with a revolutionary idea to cut up soap into bars and sell it individually in order for the product to become cheaper for purchase. It made hygiene and sanitation affordable for everyone. Because of these two like-minded companies, Margarine Unie and Lever brothers fused together to create Unilever in 1930. Not only did it make commercial sense because palm oil was a major raw material for both soap and margarine for the two companies to align, but also they shared the same ideals to help people with a more sustainable life. After the downfall of the early 20th century, Unilever expanded into the food market and increased investment into research and development. This, and including the expansion of the world's economy, launched Unilever as one of the world's biggest companies with a variety of products to choose from. After researching more about Unilever and its history, we decided to use the United Kingdom as our country to analyze.
In regards to the demographic elements Unilever is dealing with in the UK, there are 5 important factors that stood out to us, where the size of the population, which is 63,742,000 roughly, is split over England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Across these countries, the median age is roughly 40 years old, which is ideal for Unilever's product as they aren't specific to age. People at said age are generally buying for more than themselves, children, spouses, parents and so on, which means they're in an ideal place to buy for other people, especially with Unilever's products. As the literacy rates in the UK are 99%, this is also preferable for marketers at Unilever, as it means they'll run into fewer problems. Having said that, however, even though English is the main language spoken, Unilever should also take into consideration regional languages such as Scottish Gaelic, Welsh, Gaeilge, which is the Irish language, and Cornish. Another important element in terms of demographics is the breakdown of ethnic groups in the country. You can see this percentage breakdown as we've shown in our slide. However, it would vary greatly from place to place, especially in the countryside, which would have small rural villages being mainly white, with the cities, primarily London and so on, being more varied in terms of ethnic groups. Moving on to economic factors, all of Europe is still suffering from the 2008 financial crisis and the ensuing recession, which has had an adverse effect on the company's sales. Their sales are not yet back to pre-2008 levels, but they are still signs of recovery. As reported in this year's PwC UK Economic Outlook report, the UK consumer spending has grown by 2.5% per annum faster than inflation over the past 3 years, which bodes well for the company. The British economy is comparatively still quite strong, irregardless of the downturn, as reflected in their currency value, which recently is converted at £1 to $1.50 roughly. When speaking of the UK's geographic environmental factors, we can look at it in 2 ways, economic and physical. The economic geography of the UK reflects its high position in the current economic league tables, as well as reflecting its long history as a trading nation and as an imperial power. This was built on exploitation of natural resources such as coal and iron ore. Also, given it's an island and not connected to mainland Europe, with this being the physical way of looking at geographical factor, its exporting practices are influenced by its having to transport products by sea or air rather than directly by land. In itself, this is a trade barrier caused solely due to the UK's geographical location. Finally, in regards to geography, Unilever can focus its sales efforts in accordance with more affluent areas, such as London, which is the highest regional gross disposable household income, which is roughly £5,000 higher than the rest of England at £1,842. The political legal environment of the UK is quite stable due to its EU membership. However, along with Denmark, the UK obtained a special opt-out from the Maastricht Treaty, meaning they kept their sterling as their currency. In turn, this means they still have use of independent monetary policy, which, as mentioned earlier, keeps its currency value much higher and valuable than it had if it had adopted the euro. The Conservative Party in the UK holds 331 of 650 seats in Parliament. This allows them to pursue their policies of debt reduction, spending cuts, tax cuts, and a reduction of bureaucracy. All of this has them on the road to recovery, which, coupled with the fact that it's a country risk tier number 1 country, makes it a desirable place for Unilever to do business. In terms of culture, Unilever have to consider certain things like the fact that people in the UK prefer to be identified on a national level rather than being called British. As well, certain stereotypes, which are listed below, have an element of truth to them, can be utilised by Unilever for humanist marketing campaigns. Lastly, religion obviously varies based on location, and the growing presence of non-traditional religions are something Unilever must be sensitive to when operating in the UK.
Looking at performance in market to date, Unilever's sales, excluding currency fluctuations, acquisitions, and disposals, rose to 2.8% in the first 3 months of 2015. City Ireland analysts on average expected sales to rise to 2.1%. Major competitors include the following: Looking at the agency network relationship and with Unilever, the UK is a major operational center for Unilever since its headquarters are located in London, where advertising is produced locally. What is interesting is that another advertising research center is found in City West Ireland and generates ads for both the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. Therefore, two identical brands with different names might be present in Northern Ireland. Adaptation of advertising is required for the UK since it's comprised of four different countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, which have a strong sense of identity and nationalism as well as different customs.
Now looking at the target market. Unilever's primary target market in the UK has to deal with meeting the home and personal care needs of families in British households. Brands such as Dove and Vaseline and many others who have teamed up with Unilever thrive on providing these types of household products that serve as necessities for families and homes. Products which are day-to-day essentials that Unilever thrives on providing to the targeted household include soap, fragrance, detergent for fabric, and many others. Now moving on to media. The media most commonly employed in attempting to reach the United Kingdom market is television, although the most prominent state-owned public broadcast provider is BBC, which is advertising free. Unilever's YouTube channel, which is intended for women in the UK market, along with others, incorporates their hair product brands into these tutorial clips, which in result really serve as a great advertising medium platform because of how popular these YouTube stars are and how much attention they get. Unilever's Dove advertisements campaign for real beauty that are seen on print media along with other platforms such as television or the internet have embraced the new value shift of promoting a new ideal of female beauty. This type of message that Dove Unilever portrays to women is very special in a sense because it differs from the other ads, including women, that portray unobtainable body images. In society where women may be held back by low self-esteem and anxiety in how they look, Dove's mission is to help women feel content with the way they look and while using products with proper care. Now looking at communication themes. The major communication theme used by Unilever in the United Kingdom and along with the rest of the world is the idea of sustainable living, letting consumers know that their products come from the roots of the best hygiene and sanitation.
And to sum it all up, the UK is an ideal market for Unilever. Highly populated, sophisticated, older age market with a steady increase of disposable income. Despite the disadvantage of transporting onto an island, the UK has a grand history of trade throughout Europe as well as the world. This is also contributed to their transparent legal and political environment that helps create a fluid transaction between Unilever and its customers. About the brand, Unilever is a leading brand in the UK and has strategic positioning over other companies. Besides the fluctuation of currency and product recalls incidents, Unilever has many opportunities to develop into several emerging markets in the UK. Marketing communications. Most of the Unilever advertisements in the UK are produced locally and abide by the committee advertising practice code, which allows Unilever to have a distinct advantage over other foreign advertisers. Unilever's main message to the UK, healthy, sustainable living, is delivered mostly through TV advertising, but is also seeing that mobile and online advertising are becoming more prevalent in the Unilever's marketing communication. These two ads are example of Unilever's communication efforts to the UK market. In the first one, Unilever helped start the Sunlight Initiative, which helps the youth of UK in establishing and creating a brighter future for themselves through different ads like this one. This contributes to Unilever's reputation and overall brand message. And the next ad displays an ordinary woman from the streets of West London. Unilever wanted to advertise their versatile products and how they relate to everyone no matter your status. These ad campaigns correlate to Unilever's overall marketing objectives.